Hi everyone, welcome to tonight's edition of NCHEZGO program, right here on Kanele 97.7 FM. On camera is Edward Banda, for those of you that are watching us live on all our platforms. Also, if you're tuned into us in the entire world, you can have Kanele 97.7 FM on Radio Garden, Radio Box, and all those other platforms. For our colleagues on our terrestrial frequency 97.7 FM, we also welcome you aboard. I'm your host, Maxson Nkhoma. Today's NCHEZGO is quite interesting. We're going to talk about the man that has unsettled quite a lot of people. We do not know if it is because of his good or bad leadership skill that has made some people very, very unsettled, such that they would want to see him walk to the office when he has a ceremonial government vehicle assigned to him for the period of 5 years. Not yet done with the 5 years, the government has grabbed that particular vehicle. Those are the stories that we've gotten surrounding this particular issue in Chipangali. You've seen us post, you've heard him speak about that particular one, but tonight we're gonna get some more info from him, get also to know who he is, how he has ascended to the position that he is holding today, and probably if he has future political ambitions that may be unsettling some people. Our guest is Maxson Nkhoma. He is Chipangali constituency chairman. Your Worship, thank you so much for agreeing to have NCHEZGO with us on Kanele.
Thank you so much. I'm delighted to be here in Londazi and to feature on our platform. I must mention it's Celeb event. I know your station is called all over. It's quite interesting to be back here again after a long time. I'm glad I've been hosted by you, and also our above camera person, Mr. Banda. You are renowned, journalists, people that have worked tirelessly to ensure that our masses are informed. So I'm glad to be here.
All right. Controversy surrounding you could be the center stage of our conversation this evening. But before we go there, just kindly share with us who Maxson Nkhoma is, what you have done to where you are now. If there are positions that you've held in the past, kindly share with us.
Well, thank you so much. My full name is Maxson Nkhoma. I'm the Council Chairperson for Chipangali District, and at the same time I'm the Vice President of the Local Government Association of Zambia, ELGAZ. I was born and bred in Chipangali, schooled there, and went, of course, for tertiary education in the Copper Belt, finished tertiary education, started formal employment with the Electoral Commission of Zambia. I worked there for 2 years, and when I left the Electoral Commission of Zambia, I went into school for further studies. I went at Rhodes University in East Africa. When I came back, I worked in the development world. I was working with civil society organizations, among them Civil Society for Poverty Reduction, where I worked for 8 years. I worked as a provincial coordinator for Eastern Province, and later on I was promoted to go to Osaka headquarters, where I was working, but in a different position. I was a spokesperson of the organization for the whole country. So it was quite an immense experience that I went through, working for development, interacting with the vulnerable in the communities where we're working from, in the 10 provinces of Zambia and so on. So I got quite a number of experiences. Member, I'm also a human rights defender. I'm currently at school studying law. I'm in the 3rd year.
Wow.
So I have a lot of passion and interest on matters to do with the human rights, defending human rights, protecting the vulnerable, protecting the marginalized groups in society and so on, back in the days when I was in school, during my free time, I would go to the courts just to listen to the cases, the way they're being decided. And when you see a person just because he's been intimidated, but just by the environment in the court, they are not able to talk, even when they did not commit a crime, but they're not defended, they're not able to talk or to defend themselves. So that gave me a lot of passion to go and study law, that perhaps maybe one day I'll be able to stand and practice law, to be able to defend, even without being paid, the people that are vulnerable in society and maybe have come into conflict with the law, or they are just being merely accused that they came into conflict with the law when in fact no. So I have a lot of passion around human rights, defending human rights, protecting the vulnerable and the marginalized in society.
All right.
Yeah.
You are serving as the council chairperson for Chipangali here in the Eastern Province. At what point did you decide to become a politician and serve in this office you're serving today?
Yeah. So like I said, I participated in the preparations of the 2011 general election. I was working for the Electoral Commission of Zambia under the department to do with voter registration, voter sensitization, and so on and so forth. So that experience in the field, going to the community, enlightening the communities on the characteristics of what a good leader is, or what a good leader should look like. Remember, we are coming from a background where people, after being voted into office, most times than not, they will disappear immediately after being voted. They will come back again during the time of the elections. And more or less like leaders, immediately when they are voted, they are not available for the community, for the people that voted for them, to be able to sort out their challenges, day-to-day challenges, and so on and so forth. And when we say day-to-day challenges, we do not mean dishing out money to people, go and buy salt, go and buy, but they are typical issues that require the involvement of the leadership. Like, for example, right now, we have an issue to do with the SAF loans, these loans which the government has given out to the farmers so that don't benefit from the Farmer Input Support Program to get those loans. But you find, you go to the bank, people have been queuing there for a month, every single day, they come tomorrow, come tomorrow, come tomorrow. So if you don't have your representatives, leaders that can go and intervene to find out why their people are staying at the bank for entire 1 month, 2 months without being paid, then you become vulnerable because there's no one to speak for you or to represent you. So those are aspects which during that time were raising awareness in the voters. A good leader must be available to the community, a good leader must be accountable, a good leader must represent their people, and so on and so forth. So in that process, I think maybe we began to get the interest of understanding what truly a good leader must be, and we are modeled through that process up, because the preparations for the elections started like a year, 2 years before. So those 2 years that I worked, part of my work was largely in the community, doing voter sensitization, educating people on the pillars of good leadership, on the pillars of what the electorates themselves, who are the voters, are supposed to do, what their leaders are supposed to do, and so on and so forth. So maybe from there we started picking interest and so on and so forth, but maybe that interest further grew when I was working as provincial coordinator for the Civil Society for Poverty Reduction, CSPR, here in the province. I held that position for 8 years, and we were working in the typical areas. And this organization speaks more of holding leaders to account, holding leaders accountable on their promises and so on, holding the government accountable on service delivery. For instance, if the government has pronounced itself that no, this year we are going to give farming inputs in good time to the farmers, let those farming inputs be taken in good time to the farmers. If they are not taken, then we should hear an explanation to say why has the government delayed to deliver farming inputs. I was talking about the SAF loans. The SAF loans, these loans people are getting for inputs, is meant to give an opportunity to the farmers to buy inputs like seeds, fertilizers, in order for them to produce whatever it is crop which they want to produce. But look, we are talking about this is almost 23rd of December. Most of them have not collected.
Maybe we'll look at that.
Yeah, but
did you see the vacuum, as in the space that somehow showed Chipangali did lack the leadership that it needed at the time?
Yeah, of course. Growing up from Chipangali, I know what the issues are which are affecting development in Chipangali. I've grown up to know. And the biggest problem is that the community was saying, no, we have these problems because we're importing leaders from outside. Like people claim to come from Chipangali just to get an elected position, and then off they go once this elected position is given to them. And I grew up assuring them that one day we will have local people that are indigenous from Chipangali, and so on and so forth. Then we extended our weight coverage into Chipangali district when I was working for Civil Society for Poverty Reduction, where we created women groups through an empowerment program where we are giving them startup capitals to do various, community projects around women and so on and so forth. So it was the women themselves, the people, the chiefs and so on. But this one, I think he's resonating well with us. He's a local resident. Maybe one day we should keep encouraging him to start. They approached me in 2016 to stand. I appreciated their responses, their requests. I thanked them for the view which they held, that I could have represented them much better. Even when they felt like I needed to represent them at a very senior position, maybe as an area member of parliament and so on. I said, no, for now, I'm not ready. So I continued working for civil society for poverty reduction. Those requests kept coming from various angles, the church, the chiefs, community members themselves, particularly also the women groups that were assisting in building a group of women that were resilient in facing the turbulent economic situation which they were going through at the time. So it was one step leading to the other, one step leading to the other, until eventually I was forced to give consideration to that, looking at the performance of the previous leaders that we had in terms of development on the ground in Chipangali. I think we did not see much, and much in agreement with what the community was saying. No, these people, immediately we vote for them, they'll go. And they'll come again at a time when they need a vote from us. We need someone.
They needed you,
yes,
as member of parliament.
Yes.
But you opted to start in the lower position.
That was in 2016. I did not actually contest any election. I did not participate in those elections in 2016. I participated in the elections for 2021. And even at a lower position, which I have now.
But why did you decide for this position when the community saw it fit to give you the bigger one?
Yeah, the community saw it fit to give me the bigger one, but I also felt like it was a necessary good or a necessary evil for me to even accept the lower position, because it gives me then impetus to learn even more, because when you're a council chairperson, you're more or less like a headman or a chief. You have the leverage to know the problems of the community because you're with them literally. I'm with them, like in my case, I've been with the people from 2021, from the way we go, from 2021, I celebrate with them. I mourn with them. I represent them where they have difficulties and challenges in accessing government services, accessing various empowerment programs. I'm available with the people. I stay with them. I am a farmer. I'm a resident. I farm with them. So literally, I understand the environment in Chipangali more than any other politician can claim that they understand, because I'm there with them every single day.
You seem to have a very good background in as far as this work is concerned, away from politics, from the civil society organizations that you've worked for. Let's talk about you picking a political party on who's to contest the election in 2021. You are elected under the Patriotic Front party ticket. Just share with us what attracted you to contest on that particular party, because there are many other parties, and you also had another opportunity of contesting as an independent candidate, but you chose the Patriotic Front. Just share with us what was going through your mind at the time.
Yeah, so in times when we are going towards elections, it's the most difficult times for most politicians, because it's trying times. You look at most viable political party on which maybe you can be supported to vie for a certain position. You also need to analyze the political terrain, whether you are going to make it as an independent candidate, whether you need to stand on a political platform, to use it as a vehicle to get where you want to go, and so on. So that time, of course, there were a number of political parties that had heard about me and were approaching me to stand on their party ticket, including the current ruling party. I think they came through to approach me to consider standing on their party. The biggest problem then was in our own party, the Patriotic Front. Okay. And this is what caused us lose election in terms of adoptions of candidates. I think somehow mismanaged, and as a result, you found the popular candidates that were like the people were not adopted. They stood on independent. They still won the elections because the people decided. Even right now, in most constituencies, people are already seeing, already identifying that leaders at various, starting from presidential level, member of parliament, mayor, oppositions, councillors. People are already conversating, deciding, oh, okay, for this position who are we going to put. By the time we're going to an election year, people have already decided. So, what the time going into the adoptions for the PF, it was not easy. I was actually one of those that was not the favorite to be adopted in PF for any position, because the leadership then felt like I was very controversial, like I was a person that would stand for a position and I cannot be easily be moved on that position. You know, in these political parties, if you are sometimes if you are well thought through, they will tend not to like you, because you speak your mind and you stand by your position. So at the time, I think I was not one of those people that were the favorites to be adopted in the PF for any position, not even a councillor, because of the mere hatred that was existing in the political party. But I said, okay, I'll throw in my application in there and see the response. So I applied. Remember, we had the political giants in Chipangali. We had the former minister, Honorable Vincent Mwale. We have the current member of parliament, Honorable Usha, and myself being looked at in that realm of leadership in Chipangali. So, me coming in the background to compete with the giants, the former minister and the provincial chairman at the time, Honorable Usha, was unthinkable. It was not something that you'd think a mere villager from Chipangali, from Maxson Nkhoma village, to go and compete with the Honorable Mwale, to go and compete with the powerful Chairman Rungusha at the time. It was not easy. So I said, oh, okay, it seems this is a fight for the giants. What is my people want me to contest on this position? I think let me lower myself. Sometimes there's greatness in accepting to be led by others, because that is what is called leadership. You cannot be the only one that needs to be supported. Someday you should support others, and I accepted to support others at the time when it was not fashionable. So I accepted, said, okay, me, I'll apply for a lower position. For parliamentary position, I'll support the candidature of Honorable Rungusha, who was our provincial chairman at the time. I did not hide my support for him. Why I did not hide? Because I was convinced, beyond reasonable doubt, that continuing to support the candidature of Honorable Vincent Mwale at the time, who had served already for 15 years, and then there wasn't much to be talked about on the ground. I thought I was going to be doing a betrayal to my people, who were already complaining that no. I think our Sogoleri, tikawavotera wamaenda, wakaenda wasapera full time yama election. So we are sick and tired of him. We want to try you as a local person. I said, no. But looking at the competition which is there, I think I would rather go with my brother, Honorable Andrew, and I supported him in that election. He equally supported me. It was a mutual support and benefit. We won. We won with the landslide. He got 27,000 votes. I got 24,600 votes. My closest rival got only 9,000 votes. So by far, I think the people responded in affirmative that they wanted me to be in leadership, and now here I am. And this is why you see me, or you hear me, that is a council chairperson that is ever with the people. Whether they are dancing, I'll dance with them. Whether they are mourning, I'll mourn with them. Whether they are celebrating, there's a wedding which is being held under a mango tree, I'll go there and attend that wedding and be a guest of honor at that wedding, because we have to uplift the lives of our people, even just by mayor encouraging them. That the whole lot of a mayor can come to attend a wedding under a tree and be able to officiate at such a wedding where there's no cake and so on and so forth. I think this is what we are doing.
All right. Just paint a picture with us. When you were contesting, what type of a Chipangali district were you envisioning? What did you want to see change in Chipangali?
Well, Chipangali had the biggest challenge in terms of access to safe drinking water, access to passable roads, access to mobile network, and then we also have limited number of health facilities like clinics and so on and so forth. So my aspiring for political leadership was to ensure that we address the critical challenge of access to safe clean drinking water, which our people were facing, and also do roads for them, and critical also to provide health facilities for our women that will walk long distances before they can find a health facility. So I think this is Chipangali that we are looking at. And then there are other areas in Chipangali where even up to now we still have critical challenge of network. Either they have to climb with a long tree, or they have to walk for a long distance, when Dokera Parupiri, Park of Minyala, where they can just access a bit of network to communicate to their loved ones, and so on and so forth. So these are major challenges. Not that there are no other challenges, but these are quite major. The issue of mobile network, the issue of access to safe drinking water, the issue of passable roads, I think remain a critical challenge among others. But also, I think the youths in terms of raising awareness, in order for them to participate in various empowerment programs, those that have finished school to be able to access tertiary education, bursaries, and so on and so forth. So when we came into office, I made sure that we have established synergies with the institutions such as the University of Zambia. I invited them, the University of Zambia, to come into Chipangali because the University of Zambia has been giving out bursaries, either 100% or 50% bursaries. But mostly this privilege has been left to the people in towns, Chipata, Lusaka, these big towns. And the people in the villages are not accorded this opportunity. I'm glad to mention here that a number of them were picked as a result of that engagement that we had. And they're only 100% bursary. I've been receiving phone calls because bursaries, I think, were awarded just this last month. I've been receiving a lot of phone calls. No, Mayor, thank you so much for the recommendation letter. We have been given the bursaries and so on and so forth. What are we doing? We are helping the future generation. Those are going to school, they are going to graduate. Once they graduate, they'll find jobs and they'll be able to take care of their families and so on and so forth. So instead, as opposed to me making them to queue up for a 5 kwacha, but I've helped them to get 100% bursary at the University of Zambia, I think I would have helped the entire family.
How many so far?
Not one person. So far, about 65 have gone. Other than those, we have another program now under CDA, where we have sponsored over 300 students that have gone to do tertiary education. Others is skills, others is these technical courses like electrical engineering and so on and so forth. A number of them have graduated. Others, it's a skill where they've gone into earth moving equipment operation, aende magreda, waziwa kuendesha matraki, they have been given licenses and so on. So I think that's an empowering program which we are doing.
All right.
And a lot of our people have benefited. When you talk about now the roads,
maybe before we get to the roads, I want us to look at the Constituency Development Fund.
Yes.
It seems to be top on the agenda of the ruling party, United Party for National Development, UPND. They have enhanced CDF. They have increased this funding to the levels that now we are receiving quite huge sums of money in these local authorities. Others still have not appreciated this. They are accusing the government of pretending more like increasing the fees, or rather the funds, but not making these funds available on time. And then if you don't utilize them to a certain extent, also they're being withdrawn. Just share with us your experience as Chipangali Town Council. How have you utilized the Constituency Development Fund?
Well, thank you, moderator, for asking me that critical question about the CDF. One thing for sure is that I'll be failing in my duties as Council Chairperson if I don't recognize that there's a positive impact which has come as a result of the CDF. Yeah. So we must be able to appreciate and recognize that government, when they made a decision to increase the CDF, to expand it to the level where we are now, it is making a positive impact in the communities on the ground. Now, it's a different story to begin an introspection to the extent of the impact which is being made by the CDF. And of course, it differs from one district to another. It has also to do with personalities that are holding maybe offices in that council and so on and so forth. That these things differ from district to the other. Chipangali, for example, I can give you that we have been a leading example that at provincial level, we have been either number one, number two, in terms of implementation of the CDF, once the money comes in. But of course, there was a year, which is last year and early this year, when funds were delayed to be sent, And even when they were sent, I think the Minister of Finance gave an instruction to mop out all the monies that were sitting in CDF accounts without even the knowledge of us councils. Monies were mopped out. And then only to realize after officers went to the banks to try to facilitate maybe for payments here and there, that no, the money has been mopped out. So that mopping had affected the implementation of projects on the ground, because commitments had been made, contracts were signed either with contractors or suppliers and so on. But when it reached the point of now wanting to pay, the monies were not available in the bank. So we had a meeting, a review meeting, where the permanent secretary in local government technical came with all of us, the mayors for the province, and the principal officers discussed, looked at what the challenges were, and me, in my capacity as the vice president of the Local Government Association of Zambia, I spoke on behalf of all the councils here in Eastern Province that we had these challenges, and one of them was the mopping of money from the CDF accounts.
I wanted to know how much was affected by that mopping out. How much in total are we talking about?
So it differed from districts to districts, and it depended on whatever amount was there, because these amounts are not the CDF money is not sent as a lump sum. It is sent in quarterly and as and when you are using it. Okay. So for instance, for us, I think what was affected was about 9.6 million kwacha. It's quite a big amount. But also other districts were differing in terms of the amounts. It was not the same. So that 9.6 million kwacha, which was mopped away from our accounts of CDF, affected the smooth implementation of the programs. Because after they mopped it, for them to resend back that money, it took almost about 2 months or so to 3 months.
What was their reasoning?
The reasoning is that we were not utilizing the money, we were not committing the money, and they could not allow that money to be sitting in the bank. They had to get it, take it elsewhere where they needed to see immediate.
How long was the period that the money was not utilized?
Yeah, for us, I think it would not be true that the money stayed for a long period without utilizing, because we are one of the councils that had the fastest spending rate. If the money comes into the account, we're quickly using the money. So that money had stayed in the account maybe just for a month or so. Now, remember that there are procurement processes that go on, where you advertise, and then you need to select, there's a tender committee that sits to select the best bidders out of the process. This on itself is time consuming. It can take a month, sometimes even 2, for you to award a contract. So that lapse in time, our colleagues in Osaka misunderstood it, that we are not using the money, when in fact we had been delayed because of the procurement process. And you remember, the government has introduced this new system of EGP. We are doing, all procurement are being done on the system of EGP. And it was the first time when this system was introduced. So we had a bit of some challenges, technical challenges from the suppliers' point of view, but also even from inside the council, our officers that had not fully understood how to operate this system. So we had issues where you do a procurement, it fails to go through. No, there was no successive bidder, all the bidders have failed. We need to re-advertise this. And just re-advertising takes about 2 weeks. For advert to run, there are guiding regulations in the Public Procurement Act. If you are doing this advert, it needs to run for a month. So all that needs to be taken into consideration and so forth. So in that meeting, I think we were able to discuss from the bottom of the sincerity of our hearts, and we were able to provide the information.
You are the vice president of the Local Government Association in Zambia. Let's look at all the councils in the province. Was this a situation where every other council in Eastern Province was affected, or there were just quite a few?
To say the truth, most of the councils were affected because the EGP system was introduced countrywide. So in the province, all the councils were told to move from the traditional way of running adverts to now running adverts on the system. So that affected the implementation process. Remember, it's a new system. Officers were learning. Suppliers and contractors were also learning for the first time. So we had, for Chipangali, we had almost 10 projects that ran on the system and bounced back as failed projects because the bidders were not able to bid according to what is required on the system and so on and so forth. This we made mention in that meeting, and I was happy there was a team that came from the President's Projects Monitoring Team from State House. There was also a team that was led by a permanent secretary, but that team also included ZPPA and also ZRI, because ZRI at some point was among the reason why some payments were delayed. ZRI has come to the council to say, as a government department, we want you to assist us in correcting taxes from companies. Help us to make these companies to become tax compliant. So before you make any payment, send a list to us to say, can you be able to help us to verify whether these are tax compliant or not. So that also took a bit of time, but we are happy that ZRI picked up. They are able to respond on time, and we are able to make now payments also on time, based on that.
All right. Yeah. And then also another big issue is the water reticulation problem that you talked about, water challenges in Chipangali constituency. Just kindly share with us, how much have you done in dealing with this problem? Because I know there are quite a lot of domestic animals in your area. Even the community would still want to have access to good and safe drinking water. The 3 years that you've been in office, what have you done in ensuring that you resolve this challenge?
When you talk about access to safe and clean drinking water, Chipangali was number one problem, top on the list. But immediately I came into office, we went to signing agreements with some of the cooperating partners that I had enjoyed a good relationship when I was working for civil society, like Caritas Zambia, working under Caritas Chipata, under the guidance of His Grace, the Bishop of the Catholic Church here, Walungu, helped us with a number of water points in the district. They drilled 20 boreholes in the first year of 2020. Just immediately after going into office, they helped me with 20 boreholes that we were able to distribute in the communities or villages that were hard hit. From there, we signed an MOU with Living Water International. We also signed another MOU with Innovations for Africa and so on. So, in 2021 alone, immediately after elections, I was able to drill 78 boreholes in Chipangali. In 2022, we drilled 120. Last year, we drilled 80 boreholes. So, the problem is drastically being reduced. On top of that, we have gone into selected villages. Those very big villages, we are putting up tapped water, where we have done a commercial borehole with using solar, and then we connect the pipes in the entire village. About 20 villages right now, as we speak, have access to tapped water. Now, these villages, maybe they are near to a school, they are near to a hospital. We have also connected tapped water there. So, to answer your question, we have addressed the issue of challenges our people are facing on access to safe and clean drinking water. This is not to say that we have eradicated the problem. No, I think there could be one or two villages that still have, and we have asked for patience from them because we are still rolling out a program going into next year, 2025, up to December, to drill more boreholes. But this time we are going into the eradication way, where we want to put tapped water in most of the villages, schools and trading centers.
Connectivity in terms of road network. I want us to look at this before we get to the main conversation that has brought us here today. How has the road network been? Have you worked on roads? What's your plan? I know there's just a year or so that is remaining before you conclude the 5-year term mandate that you were given by the people in Chipangali. How's the road network?
Well, immediately this CDF was expanded. We were able to procure a grader, we were able to procure a roller compactor. So we have some piecemeal of equipment at the council, which we have been using to grade the roads. In 2022, this is when we procured this equipment. We were able to grade 50 kilometers of feeder road in 2022. 2023, we did another 60 kilometers. This year, we are doing another 60. As we speak, right now, our equipment is busy grading the road from Kasengatano. You know, as you move from here, Rundas going to Chipata, Pamkubu to Paja, you see Kasengatano, where we have our mini hospital, we have our mortuary. I didn't talk about the mortuary. No, Chipangali does not have a mortuary up to now. So if we have lost our loved one, we have to go to Chipata. That's where we have been accessing. But under our leadership, we have constructed one which will be open in February. It's going to be officially open in February, and I will instruct the council to extend an invitation to you so that you can come and cover this. For us, it's a memorable event. Since 1964, we never had a mortuary. Now,
all right.
So we're grading a road leading to the hospital, passing through the mortuary, all the way going to Chief Mafuta. It's one of the roads which were many. When we finish that, we'll be doing in our districts what we call highway from Kalonga Grounds Palace all the way to Chief Chinunda, passing through Chief Munukwa, and so on. Those are some of the roads that we are doing. So to answer your question, yes, there's a lot of progress that we have made in improving accessibility of the roads. The idea is to open up Chipangali for trade and investment. Our people used to face problems, even just to take crops to the market. People who do not send trucks. No, kujapano mkwepa maningi stinga tumize truck. Ngati nikubwera nisizamgula ndo mtengo cheaper, and so on and so forth. So that is not a story anymore. Okay. The roads are passable. We have done all weather-friendly gravel roads that even now you drive on those roads without a problem. So for me, it's a plus to say that in my time these things happen as a leader. Even if I don't seek political office in 2026, but I'll go back home, retired, maybe practicing my law with a very comforted heart that we gave our people water, we gave our people roads, we gave our people tapped water for the first time since 1964 in Chipangali. I'll be happy now.
A few days ago, I was in Wapula, and I did see that our colleagues there receiving good rains, and their crops are growing very well. A situation that is quite different here in the eastern part of Zambia. Maybe let's draw it down to Chipangali constituency. How is farming now? And considering the fact that you were also complaining about the SAF loans, and maybe let's also look at the inputs in general. How prepared are the people? And how is the rainfall predicted?
Well, farming is my passion. I grew up from a family of farming, the Kamungu family, and I'm a farmer. This year, I think, is not one of the best years And if we may not be lucky, we may head back to a situation of last farming season. The government tried to improve distribution of farming inputs. As we speak, under the Farmer Input Support Program, I think they even closed the sheds about 2 weeks ago, meaning that all the farmers collected what they were supposed to get, as opposed to the other years where we are running even up to February, farmers have not gotten. So I think they tried by all means to do their part, our colleagues in government, in terms of the distribution. But I think it's the rain for now that is causing panic among us farmers. We have not had good rains. Most of us had to replant. We planted area. Tukalbe kuyamba kusatani twanongeka kwa vimera. Vimera ni jachisimanga chavene mapangira toko. So people had to go and look for seed again. Replanted, it was again not successful because there are no rains. So the situation is that farmers have had to replant at least minimum of 3 to 4 times.
Ooh, goodness.
For us that are also doing tobacco, even worse, we had our nurseries, we planted, looked after them well. When the first rain came, we were advised that no, let's not plant now by our colleagues that do this weather forecast and so on. So we didn't plant until the time when they advised us, no, now the rains have come, so you can plant. And we went flat out to plant. We even advised farmers. I went on radio to advise farmers to plant based on the forecast that our colleagues, the department, the meteorological department. But I think their machines are quite defective. It is as good as closing that department because they're not giving us any correct information. They told us proper rains will start on the 11th and 12th of December. We saw rains on the 5th, we saw rains on the 6th, we saw rains on the 7th, we planted. Despite them saying it will start on the 12th. From the 12th up to now, we have not received rain. So meaning that either they are using equipment which is absolute finished equipment, or I don't know what I can say it. But the reason why also maybe production is being hampered, because they should be able to give us correct and accurate information for decision making on the ground. But what comes from there is nothing close to proof. So tinaposensa chapeno advice yamakolo yanaweza mkaona kumwamba kuchita so nishimungabyana mkaona kumwamba ngati mphepo yangozungukira kuyenda uku nishi uzakhala kachirala yambani kupali and so on and so forth. It is more effective to get the advice from our grandmothers vamenezo tuzambie watu than it is to get advice from the meteorological department of Zambia. Timaona pa TV wabwera to give us information, but that information, my brother, is defective. It's not true. It's misleading. If I were a typical farmer, you can even bring a lawsuit against them because they advise us to start planting on the 12th. From the 12th up to now, we have not had rain. So if you planted on the 12th, your crops have not come out. You have a very good case raised against them before the courts of law. So, of course, people planted tobacco, maize have planted. In some areas, germination was maybe 90%, in some areas maybe 45%, and so on and so forth. So, we are in prayers with the church. We keep our fingers crossed. We are on our knees, hoping that good God of Abraham is going to give us good things this year. Otherwise, if it is going to go back to the situation it was last year, you know where we are now. Insecurity in terms of national food security. People are already lining up in the DC's office for food, aid, relief, and so on and so forth. It's not a situation where me as a leader will be proud to see my people end up office squad DC relief when they have capacity to produce. But because there is no rain, there is nothing that they do.
In case you've just joined us, we are hosting Chipangali Town Council Chairperson Maxson Nkhoma, and we're talking quite a lot. We have discussed many issues on the show this particular evening, but we're not yet on the bigger one of them all. In case you've just joined us, we got some stories where, of course, what we saw first as Kanele FM was a story about him complaining that there was hunger, acute hunger in Chipangali constituency, and he was calling for food aid so that the people can survive this particular period. Later on, we also got news that he was actually grabbed of his ceremonial government vehicle as a council chairperson. Some story that has brought some sharp reaction, and of course there is also another issue, and now it has to do with him using a bicycle for mobility. Away from that, we also got some news that a certain church has started donating funds towards procuring him a vehicle so that he continues the work that he's been doing for the people in Chipangali constituency. Mr. Nkhoma, just run us through the happenings in as far as your government vehicle being grabbed by whoever. Tell us what really happened to what it is today.
Well, thank you so much, moderator. I must mention that I've been on this position from 2021 to date with a lot of challenges. It has not come easy. Faced a lot of battles and so on and so forth. It is because maybe I can claim to be strong, I can claim to be brave, I can claim to be courageous, that I'm still standing here tall today, even be able to be on this interview with you. It didn't start now, it started a long time ago, immediately after elections. I told you that soon after elections, I never left the people. I've been with the people through and through, in good times, bad times. It was unfortunate on this day when I'd just come out from the graveyard, going back to my vehicle at Nyafombo village in Chipangali ward, where I found my driver standing beside the vehicle. His face was gloomy, worried, and so on. And I asked him the question, what is the problem? He says, no, I just received a phone call from the office of the DC, indicating or threatening me that today from here, they are going to put me in the police cells because I've defied his order that I should stop moving with you in the funerals, moving with you in the community on the weekend. So he says, put me in the cells because I'm not listening. I continue to move with you. People have called him, telling him that we are here. And I was shocked. I was surprised. I could not hold it. I lost my temper. I began to wonder how could the whole lot of a DC call my driver, threatening him to say he's going to put him in the police cells for escorting me, take a body to the home, and so on and so forth. So I immediately tried to reach out to the DC to ask him why he was threatening my driver. He did not pick up my phone. I called the office of the PS, Mr. Toll, to tell him what the DC had done to my driver, and consequently that now my driver was living in fear, and I could not continue using a driver whose condition was in a state of limbo, and so on and so forth. And then the PS arranged for a meeting where I called the DC to his office to come with a DAO and myself to go with my council secretary. And then it was like a court process now. You hear from this, you hear from this. And eventually we resolved where the PS directed the DC that he had no authority over my vehicle. Yes, he's in charge of government vehicles at district level, but the mayor's vehicle is an elected official. His vehicle was not given to him by appointment. The vehicle was given to me by the people that voted for me, 24,600, who woke up on the 11th August, they woke up and decided that they voted for me into office to work for them. And the DC said he had heard that he will not repeat it again. So after we made that resolve, the PS asked me, begged me, Your Worship, we don't want you to go and tell your people that we are refusing you to use this vehicle to attend the funerals, to help the people and so on, because the people are going to raise against the government. And I said, no, my PS, I assured the PS, no, PS, me, I can't do that. Because I'm part and parcel of the government. You and me, we are both government officials. We work in the same government and so on. But when this situation exacerbated, reached to the level where it has reached now, I had no option but to pass an announcement to the people to say, if you see me delaying to attend the funeral or delaying to come and attend the church service with you, it is because the vehicle has been taken away from me. I've been stopped to be allowed to move with the vehicle to conduct my ceremonial civic duties which I'm supposed to conduct as a civic leader. Because it is my duty, the moderator, to ensure that I'm available to the people day and night, on good times, in bad times, in celebrations, and so on and so forth. I am not the type of a leader that will only show up with a large bag of money on the day of voting. No. I'm a leader that wants to be available for the people, that has chosen to be available with the people from 21 August up to now. If there's a leader that has been available for their people in the whole of this province, probably even at country level, I can proud myself to be one of them. So I think this is what happened in that meeting with the PS and so on. So after that meeting, there have been a series of other things pointed to stopping me from being available to the community and so on and so forth. So my moving has unsettled some political stakeholders, thinking that I do not even play politics wherever I go. It is purely development meetings. Because when you are a father of the district, you are responsible for everyone, regardless of the political party they come from. Whether they come from ZADECO, UNIP, UPND, PF, and so on and so forth. When you are a father of a district, you need to embrace everyone. And in my role, I'm embracing literally everyone, including our colleagues who are in the ruling party. I work with them quite well. But surprisingly, from amongst ourselves as political leaders, there are others that are going behind my office to go and intimidate and threaten the council secretary. To say, don't allow that man to be moving with the vehicle, which is unfortunate. This is the case. It is a good way of grabbing this vehicle from me, because I will not accept kuti vantu kunza vatandaura kuti ndarama zasafa vari kubanki. They have been going to the bank from October, November, this is December. I can't of grabbing that vehicle, stopping movement, that you can only use it from home to the office. Sit in the office the whole day, knock off, go home, come tomorrow again. Daily routine. Me, I'm not a civil servant. Me, I'm an elected constitutional office holder. I make my own decisions, assess situations as they come. That corporate disaster, which is under DMMU, I need to go to the office of the DC, but DC with disaster, let's go and check and see how we can help our people. But if they want that vehicle to be just be parked in the car park, then of what help am I going to be to the people? For this reason, For this reason, I attended the funeral in Chief Mafuta and I informed the people. Lero, wanoona tunachedwa kuno kumaliro. Sikufuna kwanga. Motoka wanalesa kwenda nayo community kumaliro. Monga mwanena bwerera pano, wafituku kwenda enda tiyai yasankhala pa office. So ine motoka boma aniranda because they don't want this vehicle to be moving. So monga lero kwabena bwera pano niyamikira nyama tapa mgubudu pa trading. Wananipasa ukanjinga kamene nakwanisa kutoka pa mgubudu ukwenda kufika pa mafuta it's 25 kilometers. Nachova njinga nafika kumaliro. Though nachedwa, but I still found people, the program had not yet started. I mourned with them. I delivered my message to them that this is the situation.
Others are of the view that your worship, you get paid by the end of the month. Why can't you just now resolve into buying your own vehicle from your salary?
My leader, I have several vehicles. I have several vehicles at home which I can use to move from one place to the other. But if I'm going to use my personal vehicles to conduct or to provide government services, then it's most unfortunate. If I'm being asked now to say, you're using a motoka yako to conduct government business in the district, then it's something that the stakeholders can question or needs to question, because there is no person, not even a president, several vehicles as he has, that he can use his personal vehicle to conduct presidential duties.
You said that.
So on that day, it was the community that saw me walking. I was walking to go and conduct a government business, because attending a funeral is one of the civic leaders. It's one of the responsibilities of a civic leader like me to do. It is even prescribed in government policy. Funerals and what? It is the office of the responsibility of the office of the mayor, which is me. So on that day, the people saw me walking. I was walking on foot. Mayor went to kuti. Ata nenda kumaliro kwa mafuta na bila uti mnyama atanafa na kalesa. Died in a very mysterious way. Anafa na kalesa. And they are concerned. The boy was only in grade 6. So nilitoka si attend maliro. Nanga motoka bwanji tata. Namata ngani ya motoka mwizi wa. Namvera uti motoka. Nalesa uti motoka zenda na munga bamaliro. Munga vitukuko kuno na mbura kumende nani. Walesa. So lero natani nitape pansi ata no mayor we feel for you. So get this bicycle. That's how they brought me that bicycle. I started riding it to go and attend that film, and I made an announcement that this is what it is. Right. So ngan yamo talk. It's not about do you have vehicles? No. It's do you have the access that you need and the resources that you need according to your office to be able to discharge your duties, to move wherever you want to go. If the question becomes, do you have vehicles? You can see a vehicle which have come with here at the radio station. That's my private personal vehicle. It's the one I'm driving, it's parked outside. It's mine. But I will not use this vehicle which you are seeing, beauty vehicle which you are seeing outside, to go and use it, to go and address challenges to do with the CDF committee meeting.
You said the community was asking you to contest as a member of parliament in 2016.
Yes.
But in 2021, you decided to contest as a council chairperson.
Yes.
Do you think now the community feels you have done your part and you need to be elevated to a position they have been wanting you to hold, which is the member of parliament, and some people feel unsettled with that?
Of course, there's a lot of talk in my district where people are saying, no, this one is a local person. I think we umpando mchepera, aende kupa umpando wa MP, and so on. People's views. Others speak like that. If you go in the church, of course, even some chiefs have mentioned that, and so on, and so forth. But for me, it is shocking that people can go out and get moved by what the people are saying. Because me, I have not gone anywhere, moderator, to say that I want to contest elections in 2026. No. And if I'll be contesting elections, on which position am I contesting? I have not made the public statement like that. Never anywhere where I've gone in a Nimidia 2026, no. Or that got Nimidia Pampando, no. In fact, I'm already thinking that I think I've done my contribution for the people of Chipangali. I've done enough. And we are not short of leaders. We have seen some young councillors coming up and so on and so forth. Maybe when the people are still clapping, it will be a good time for me to hand over the touch of leadership to emerging leaders. So I want to urge those that are unsettled with me that they should not think that I'm contesting the elections in 2026. No, I'm not. I'm retiring to the farm. I want to concentrate on my law studies, which I'm doing, and probably maybe represent you one day when you are accused that you are giving out information which is sensitive to the public. I want to be a full-time lawyer, representing the vulnerable people, marginalized in society, and so on and so forth. But others think that me, I want to take a political toll, and because I want to stand and so on and so forth. But me, I want to thank the church. I'm here to thank the church, all the denominations that made it possible for their Christian, individual Christians in their churches to start making contributions. And they said, we want to buy a vehicle that is going to be attached to the office of the mayor to enable him discharge his duties efficiently and effectively.
Which church is that?
Now, we have various churches. We held the prayers on Saturday in Ukuje Ward, and me, I was not aware. They invited me, no, I'm mayor, we prayed from morning up to around lunchtime. Then that's when they were breaking news. No, we are concerned to hear that you had to use a bicycle to conduct civic duties and so on. We had asked our Christians to start making more contributions, and so far what has been raised is about 84,700 and so on. So this vehicle, which the church are planning to buy, it's not for me. It's for my office to conduct civic duties. Not that they are buying, the church they are buying a vehicle for me. No. But they are concerned that my absence from the public may affect development in the district. My absence from praying with the church, my absence from the interactions that we do with the community, the chiefs and so on and so forth, is going to affect development. So this contribution for me, I said, no, I appreciate, I've received this with both hands, and the only thing which I can do is not to personalize this vehicle, because it remains a vehicle which the church has procured for my office to discharge duties. Never in this country has the church donated a vehicle to a politician. No.
Right.
It has happened for the first time in Chipangali. And I want to thank the Reverend Issa Opiri. I want to thank Reverend Mwanza and their team for the tireless work which they are doing in the district, even to come up with this contribution. I think I'm highly indebted to them. I assured them that I'll be more available to the people, because I have no reason. I'll be more available to the people now more than ever before to help them develop Chipangali.
Mr. Nkhoma, we would also want to thank you so much for making it to NCHEZGO. But before we let go of you, just your concluding remarks, if you can just face the camera and tell the people what you feel you haven't shared with us on the program this evening?
Well, thank you so much, those that are listening to us on the radio, and also those that are watching us through media, social media platforms across the country, across the globe. It was my pleasure indeed to be on this NCHEZGO program here in London. I had to travel all the way to come and interact with our people here, particularly on this media platform. And for simple reason that we are a credible media institution that has provided enough accurate information to the people in the province and beyond. And you are forced to reckon with in terms of the credibility of the media houses. Even a person that comes, I will not hesitate to commend your station. I think we have shared quite a lot. It's not been easy, it's a political journey, but I know people heard a lot about me. It's politicking as usual, people being unsettled by maybe a few things that we do. I'm not a rich man, I'm a poor man. Boreholes from our cooperating partners, more of them water system where we give piped water in the community. So it's good that we interacted on this platform. Politics will come, politics will go, but at the end of the day, we remain brothers and sisters. We would want more of a government that is inclusive, a government that embraces everyone. Of course, there will be those of us with divergent views, but that does not mean we are enemies, and so on and so forth. That does not warrant to say, no, can you stop him from moving, and so on and so forth. I think in a democratic state, we expect that constitutional office holders are respected, as it were, given the mandate which they have to perform. They need to be supported, and so on and so forth. So we appeal for that much support. We appeal for tolerance, and also for the rule of law to prevail and to be upheld.
All right.
Thank you.
That's all we could accommodate on the show tonight. I've been your host, Chipangali Nkhoma, on behalf of my camera personnel on today's show, Edward Banda, as well as producer John Zayawan Mseteka. It's been a pleasure hosting Mr. Nkhoma all the way from Chipangali district. He is the Town Council Chairperson there. He's also serving as the Vice President for the Local Government Association of Zambia. Compliments of the season to you all. God bless you. Bye-bye.